Hey, it's YouTube. Goratha here. I have been asked a lot of questions about what my plans are for the league start. So I figured I'd make a video and just talk about what my plans are specifically. Now, originally I was going to play Trade League and try like softcore trade maybe and like mess around with the jewels and stuff, but GG announced a race event. So I will be starting an SF hardcore. Eventually I might transfer to hardcore trade or something. We'll see how the race goes. But that's my current plan for the league. Now the character I want to play. I'm playing a Lightning Conduit Trickster. Now a lot of people are planning on playing Lightning Conduit. It's not anything new. Like there's a bunch of streamers going to play Lightning Conduit. However, I don't see very many people talking about Trickster Conduit. Most people are going to play Elementalist. Now I think Trickster has a lot of potential, but it might be a little harder to get online. But there's a lot of interesting mechanics, and Trickster's new, so I just want to try it out. Now Lightning Conduit is a skill that requires you to shock an enemy in order to deal damage. So we are most likely using Orb of Storms for clearing and Stormbrand for bossing. But Stormbrand could also work for map clear as well. We'll have to see how it ends up being. It's still gonna be a lot of like messing around with different gym links and whatnot and seeing like what feels the best. Some cool items we can use with Trickster are, first off, the Vertex. So Divine Blessing no longer works with Light Tap. So there's a couple options for using Divine Blessing with other things. Most notably the Vertex, which reduces your mana costs. And since you're using Divine Blessing, it changes your aura cost into mana cost, basically. The Socketed Gems reduce mana costs on that, plus Inspiration. And some reduced mana costs on the tree gives you basically a free Divine Blessing. The cool thing about Vertex is it also scales really well with Escape Artist. So it's just a nice Trickster item in general. Another very cool item we can use with this character is Accumulator Wand. Now, Accumulator Wand gives you Endurance, Frenzy, or Power Charge every 6 seconds. This is a high-space wand, and it could work really well with Swift Killer, which gives you 200% increased charge duration. So all your charges are lasting for 30 seconds. This is another very cool option. You might also need the charge duration mastery as well to guarantee uptime on all of them, but I'm not sure exactly how that'll work out yet. Just a cool idea, it might work. Defenses on this character. So before we get into the tree and whatnot, I wanted to talk about this character specifically and like what we're planning on doing. Now this character is not planning on running Determination. This might scare off a lot of people because we won't have any armor and we can't use Molten Shell. However, I think with Fizz taking his Ellie Craft and Endurance Charges, plus Asp of the Crab, we'll have a decent amount of Fizz mitigation, and we can use a Mortal Call instead of Molten Shell, which Molten Shell is definitely better. It's just, it is what it is, right? I feel like GG needs to add some more guard skills, but that's like a whole nother video, so I'll keep on target here. ES Recharge. So I think most people looked at Trickster and thought, well, let's take both Spellbreaker and Soul Drinker. However, I think that's the wrong approach. I think you're either taking Spellbreaker or Soul Drinker because they scale very differently. And if you want to scale them effectively, they have some pretty big downsides. So for example, if you go Soul Drinker, you want Ghost Reaver and a bunch of Leech on the tree, like maximum total ES recovery per second. However, if you take Ghost Reaver, you can't recharge ES at all, so it makes Spellbreaker a lot less effective. But then again, if you don't take Ghost Reaver, you have 10% Leech instead of 20, because ES has a 10% max Leech baseline. They nerfed it way back in the day with Valpak, and you have to get Ghost Reaver basically to have normal Leech. Unfortunately, I think it'd be really annoying to run Ghost Reaver for a lot of situations, specifically like if you're doing like Cyrus or some boss that's an intermission. If you take damage on your ES and you don't recover it right away, you won't be able to recover it at all, basically. I think Wicked Ward will just be a little bit better in terms of like feel. And that's the other option, Spellbreaker, Wicked Ward. Now, Wicked Ward, Spellbreaker, you also want to scale faster start of recharge rate, because even though you're getting the Spellbreaker start your recharge thing, you'll still have to have some faster start for the attack hits. You're not always getting hit by stall. On top of that, you also want recharge rate. This character currently in this tier B has 5300 recharge rate, which basically means when your Wicked Ward's up, you have 5300 regen. So anytime you take damage when you're recharging with Wicked Ward, it doesn't go away. And also it doesn't go away at full ES either, so it's constantly ticking, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, it's a lot of ES. That's the defensive plan for this character. The Ascendancy order. We're planning on taking one step ahead early on. This might change later if we want the Accumulator Wand setup, but one step ahead makes it really nice for early leveling and just in general a nice quality of life thing. It also has some nice interactions later on, potentially with Temp Chain self-cursing and other things like that. But early on, one step ahead might be really, really nice. They're planning on taking on Polymath, or taking Polymath. So the main reason I think Polymaths are taking right away is the life, ES, and mana kill is just so significant, even at low amounts. Even if you only have like 4 masteries when you take this, I think it's still worth taking second. And third, I was planning on taking Swift Killer over Escape Artist and respecking later with Merc and Uberlab. So Merc and Uberlab, I think you take Escape Artist and Spellbreaker. But I think before then, you just take Swift Killer for some more damage. I think that'll be a good start. Just respect that later. So much like the Inquisitor, this character is planning on going crit, but early on you really want to go non-crit because, yeah, you just can't scale crit early. Also, lucky damage with lightning is extremely broken. You pretty much rush this node. This is how the early leveling Facet Tree will look like. Rushing static blows with the Lightning Mastery, getting Breath of Lightning, and then getting Elemental Overload. This is how my early tree is going to look like. This isn't a build guide necessarily, so I'm not going to go over point by point, but this is generally how it'll look. I will link this POB in the description. It has a bunch of notes in it and a bunch of different gym setups for early leveling, like early leveling 1 to 28, early 9 crit setup, early like endgame mapping, as well as the early tree. And the endgame tree looks like this. This is with the Spellbreaker, Wicked Ward setup, and a bunch of ES recharge investment in the tree. And that's my plan for this character. Unfortunately, the skill's not out yet, so I can't show endgame footage, right? But I have really high hopes for this character. Quick disclaimer though, I can't promise you anything, right? Like the skill's new, it might suck, it might be super clunky. It looked pretty good in the demonstration they did, and I'm excited to play it. But yeah, play at your own risk, basically. Also, Trickster is potentially not good, but I think it's really good. I have high hopes for Trickster. A lot of people aren't really hyped for it, but I think it can be really interesting. Anyways, that's my plan for the league start. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know if you guys want me to do more content like this. See ya.